So today I'm going to show you guys how to modify an E90 booster to fit in an E30. This is beneficial for literally any E30, regardless of what motor you have in it. It could have an M20, it could have an M10. In my situation, I recently, or actually, it hasn't even gone in yet. I have an M52, and for those of you that know, when you put the 24 valves into the E30 engine bay, the intake manifold hits the side of this. You either have to get a smaller booster or you have to move the stock booster over. And a lot of the older options they don't feel great. The brakes don't feel great. They're overpriced. And the parts are they're just old. They don't look great. They don't look like a nice E90 booster. But this is a pretty new swap. I don't know if a lot of people know about it. I was informed by my buddy Danny to look into it. There's a good amount of info, but there isn't a ton. So we're gonna go over everything in this video, and hopefully this will be a good guide for everybody. To start off, this I obviously took off the master. These are the opposite ways. So as you can see, it's very obvious that E90, E92 booster is much smaller, but it's also much thicker, and we'll get into what's going to happen with the reservoir, because you will need to get a different reservoir. And actually, since I'm talking about it right now, this is the reservoir. So you're going to need to get these two rubber grommets, which all the part numbers will be in the description. And this is a 2002 BMW reservoir, which is literally brand new. Pretty sweet. I think this was only like 25 bucks on Amazon or something, so it's really cheap. These are from FCP, and so these will actually replace the ones that are in here right now, which you can't really see. Right in here, these two guys, and these will get replaced by this, so then these will fit in that. So anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm starting this video a little bit late into the progress of this just because I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but everything seems to be working out really well right now. So when you first get your E90 booster, this end is not on it. What comes on it is this end, all right? So I guess this is easy to show since it's already done. This came unscrewed from the stock master rod, okay? A lot of people may argue and say that this should have been threaded, and it should have just been threaded on rather than welded. The size of the rods is noticeably different. This is much fatter than this. If you look at this end to that, you can see how much wider that rod actually is. So with that being said, we didn't really think about rethreading it because it would have taken a lot of extra work to get this to rethread. So we just welded it on. Right here you can see it's a little bit skewed on its side right now. So we're looking at the right-hand side. We have our brake pedal right here, which is where this needs to line up. Now this is what's important. Without modifying this stock rod, you end up with just this U-joint, and it's noticeably larger than like all of that is, as you can see. And this is only meant to hold this clevis pin. This is what's called a clevis pin, weirdest name. So we can line this up, as you can see, really nicely like that. And we can pop this pin straight on through like that. And then the clip will line up right where it needs to. And then looking at it right here, you take your clip and your clip will go on no problems now. And it lines up nice and snug right on this side, and that's what matters. This needs to be tight. With this, the clevis pin is not long enough. So technically speaking, you would need to get a longer clevis pin. I think that this method is a lot smarter to just weld down the stock U here, because you get to use the stock clevis pin. You don't need an aftermarket one. And guess what? If this breaks, you don't have brakes. Now that you can kind of see from this side, that's what has to get modified, and that's why it has to get modified. Now that that's done, let's move to the reservoir. I need to remove this reservoir because it does fit just a little bit snug with, I believe it's the intake boot that it ends up hitting. So we've got to remove this pin right in here, and then we're also going to get rid of these two brake lines because we don't need them. They cut them on that end. So the reservoir is removed, so now we just have to remove these two rubber grommets, which is as easy as that. Okay, so those are removed. Take these two guys, and these should kind of squeeze right on in there. It's going to be a tight fit because they're brand new, so I'm going to put the camera down so then I can actually push these in real quick. The rubber grommets in. Going to take our 2002 reservoir. That extra pin on the left-hand side, that's for your clutch. These will just fit. You can see how easy everything just snugly fits it right in. So once again, I got to put the camera down, and just like that, that's snugly fit in there. Once you hear it pop in, that's when you know it's actually in. So just like that, our E90 booster, oh, well, actually I still have to do the lines, which I didn't remove. But other than that, our E90 booster is pretty much ready to go into the car. It also reuses the stock hardware, which is pretty cool. So it's I'm surprised that this hasn't been done more often. I can only imagine that this is going to become a more common thing. So now let's move to the car. I got to put my manual pedals in since this car was originally an auto. So I'm going to take care of that really quick, and then we'll move back to the booster. All right, so I just went ahead and placed the booster on now that I have the pedals in. And going right on underneath, you can see right away the clevis pin literally lines straight up. I didn't even have to touch it, so that's pretty sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and bolt in the booster now to the pedals, and now we've got our manual swapped E30. The E90 booster in, the only other thing that we're gonna need to modify are our brake lines. So my E30 has 3 brake lines. We're gonna need to route these around and onto here. But the other thing that we're gonna need to do is convert it. The size is a little bit different. So the E90 booster is an M12/1, while the stock E30 is an M10/1. So these bubble flare fitteds. So these will allow you to just bolt straight on in, just like that, and then we'll tighten up our brake line as well. Now you're also going to need to get a slightly extended brake line because this is going to have to go underneath and over to here. So depending on how much you want to bend this line, this does have a little bit of play underneath here, so this actually would be able to kind of get pulled over a little bit further. I don't want to mess with this because I don't want to break it right now. I'm going to use like the proper tool, but for now, just so I can show you guys, this is how it works. On the other end, you're going to need one of these guys, which is just an M10 to M10, and this will allow you to just screw straight onto the line just like that. I guess the one last thing that I will note is that I have the 2002 cap on here still. You can take this off and reuse your stock E30 one if you want to. I don't remember where I put it, so I'm just leaving this one on for now until I find it. So now I have everything hooked up. This is our adapter for the rear line, the M10 to M10. We've got the M12 to M10 adapter, M10 to M12 adapter with our brake line coming around here. And this is kind of hard to see, but this is our T. The only one that I could find with the right size had this weird little thing right here. So other than that, I just need to finish screwing these things in, and we're in pretty good shape. So this is going to be for the front line. So we've got one front line on the bottom and then the other front line right here. So the last thing that we need to do is pop this guy off, and we'll just have to get a slight extension to extend this, and that's it. So hopefully that works for you guys. I hope that this acts as a pretty solid guide. Please leave in the comments if this works for you, if this video is helpful. But thanks for watching. See you guys next time.